So I'm going to go into creating a member. Um, and once I'll just pick up on the member here that we have here. And pretty straightforward. First name, last name, some of the community information we have on the individual. Uh, so we have, you might have only one reserve, right? But or maybe you have different reserves on your with your nation. I know here in Alberta we might have one nation and has four reserve areas. So you'll be able to put the different reserve areas if you wish, or if you want to put different kind of communities. So once we click on a community, we know just save this, and then we go into all the different fields. Mr. Dan Martel. In some of our communities, we have people that have nicknames. We put that in there not just for a joke, but sometimes we need to contact people because sometimes we just know them by that particular nickname. Uh, Sort of an email address, birth date. I'm going to make myself young here. 1998. A membership number if you have one, the healthcare number, social insurance number for especially for the assets, the ISETs. This is a mandatory field. Okay. Address, gender, marital status, disability or not, whether they have um, a custody agreement, if they're into having some marital issues or whatever. Uh, be able to choose a file. You could have a picture of an individual. You could put that up here. Okay. Phones, you can be able to add all the different kinds of phone numbers from home, fax, cell, work, alternate numbers, text messages only. Addresses, the same thing, is that we could add as many addresses because sometimes people are couch surfing, unfortunately. Again, the file number, the languages spoken, um, the number of dependents. When we talk about the community they live in right now might be the nation, but their community of origin might have been a neighboring city, town, or whatever. Whether they're registered non-status, Métis, Inuit, and I think with most assets, ISETs, they serve everybody, but some don't. Um, Whether they live on reserve, off reserve, treaty number. Uh, and again, some of this information might not be relevant to you, whether they have a BCR or INAC. Just that what's happened in the past is that as legal standings change for First Nations people, we get First Nations, then we get Bill C-31. Now we got MacGyver Indians. Now we got the Daniels case coming down, where Métis have always been Indians. So as these different legal standings come about, some nations don't have a good handle on their membership list, and they just sort of adopt the INAC list. In Alberta here, it's presenting big problems. So some members have to be BCR'd in by the chief and council, and some are at the INAC. Whether it applies to you guys or not, you'd be able to determine that. Um, from a transportation perspective, do you currently own a driver's license? If you were to answer yes, it'll ask you for the different classifications and excuse me. And we had Summer here sort of ask us to put all the different Ontario classifications in, so we did that. Um, if the answer was no, they don't have a driver's license. Well, what's the reason for not having a driver's license? Is it fines? Is lost license, maintenance, enforcements, never had a license? Because that's critical information too. Because we see in some of the industries out there, especially some of the major oil and gas industries, when their people end up losing their license, say for a liquor offense or driving under the influence or whatever, um, for some reason they get their licenses back quite quite uh, easily, right? And they're able to go back to work right away. So we want to put the same kind of information forward so that most First Nation people are not hindered by that situation, right? And sometimes it's not that people lose their license because they're drinking and driving. It could just be for outstanding fines, right? Their current mode of transportation. And what I showed you on the calendar there for credentials, and this is where it's important. So if people have particular tickets, confined space, fall protection. We'll just use this example here. Uh, just able to calendar that. And we just add that particular credential. Now what happens is expiry date automatically goes back onto the date on the calendar, so it's already there. Um, the next thing we have here is what we call sort of the attribute tree. The attribute tree is something that we created for new initiatives that might not be in the database currently. And what we're looking for is what you'd be looking for is what's big right now in Canada is this whole notion about the green energy. And now what's coming up now is cannabis, training for cannabis. Uh, and to get a notion of, how many people are interested in the green energy, how many people still hunt, fish, trap, gather, for some of your traditional information, because those are really great qualities of individuals, but sometimes go unnoticed because we're looking more for academia and not necessarily traditional pursuits. So now you've created all this information. The idea behind it would be to go back from your perspective would be to save and validate for assets.